Hey guys, back again today. It's Wednesday, and I know it's not the weekend, but there you go. So I'm pretty sure that that voltage regulator is toast, and I'm getting tired of dealing with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch out the voltage, the alternator, go with a GM 10SI alternator. It's a little bit underpowered. It's a 63 amp alternator. I think the cab one's 100 amps. And I'm just going to wire it that way so I can just move on. And then if I run across another voltage regulator, I'll buy it and then switch everything back. I'm planning a trip to England in the next couple of months, so I'll take care of it then. But for now, I'm just going to pull this alternator off, and I'm just going to get it sorted out. So bear with me while I get this done. Make sure I keep these parts together. So I was looking for a washer, like a thicker one like this, or rather even thicker than these, a couple of them, and I couldn't find them. So I'm going to have to use like a little piece of copper piping, because the GM alternator is a little bit skinnier. You also, it's mounted on two brackets, a big bracket on the top and a little bracket on the bottom. You're going to have to move the little bracket. It mounts on an elbow, so you're going to have to move it to adjust it so that it'll mount correctly, because I think it's either too short or too long, I can't remember. But it's been a while since I last took this thing off. But we'll get it. Okay, so it's boiling hot, and the biggest pain in the rear on this thing is getting it out of its spot. So it's a rebuilt alternator, so I'm going to hold on to it. So this is the GM alternator. It's called a 10SI. It's pretty much used everywhere. The thing with this alternator is, you got to remember, when it comes, it usually either doesn't come with one of these pulleys, or if it does, it comes with a single pulley. So you got to find a double pulley and put it on. The other thing about it is it's going to mount upside down. So when you have it upside down, make sure, like, this is the right way up technically on a GM vehicle, right? So if this is the right way up, it's got to be at the pins, the terminals, these terminals over here, right? If you're staring at it, they need to be at the 9 o'clock position. We're going to turn it around so they're effectively at the 3 o'clock position. That's going to make things a little bit easier for the wiring, because you're going to be staring at this terminal rather than having to basically fish around it between the engine and the block, which is how the cab alternator was set up, and it drove me nuts. So this is the way to do it. As I mentioned, this piece is a little bit shorter, so I'm going to have to put this thing behind it, over here like that, this piece over here, just to make it fit right. Okay? All right, it's a brand new belt, but it's not going to fit with the GM alternator. I need to go a little bit longer. So I was able to use the correct belt, or the original belt. It was real difficult to do, but eventually I was able to use a screwdriver to pry the belt on, and it's literally mounted in its minimum position. So my recommendation is, whatever the factory belt that you have, if you decide to go with a GM alternator, just get a slightly larger belt, because it was a lot more work than I expected it to be. But in any case, I'm putting it back together again now. Alright guys, so alternator's wired back up, belts on really tight, positive terminals on, the ground is going to be left off, it's just going to ground off the engine. What else? Okay, so we're going to reuse this wiring over here. This is basically the wiring that came off the voltage regulator, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the wiring at this side. Actually, let me go and get my light so you guys can see what's going on. So let me get back over here. Alright, so we got this wiring over here, and I've been doing a little bit of digging, trying to figure out where everything is. And this is the A wire, I think, and goes to the actual light. So this is what we're going to do, right? Right now I've made this little pigtail over here. I'm going to use it at the alternator side, but I'm going to connect to full test, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ground this wire, stick it somewhere where it will ground. Where am I going to ground it? Yeah, I'm going to ground it right here. Right here. So see that? I've grounded that wire. So that should technically turn my generator light on when I turn the key. And sure you have it. There's a generator light. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a fuse and I'm going to connect this wire over here to the field wire that's connected to the F. Alright, and I'm just going to use the GM style fuse to connect those two together. So give me a second. Right, so see that? I'm just connecting those two wires together. Right, and what that's going to do technically is it's going to allow me to use the existing wiring up front, see that brown with the green tracer, to excite the alternator and to turn off the generator light. So guys, this is a question that came up like a million times and I never got the answer on the forums, right? So this is me giving back. If you want to switch over to a GM alternator, what you've got to do is you've got to take these two wires, bridge them together, and then run that green wire with the tracer up to the exciter wire on the alternator, and that should basically be all you need to do to have your generator light running and everything else. So this is what we're going to try to do right now. Give me a second. Alright guys, so the generator didn't light up, the gen light. two reasons there. First of all, the fuse, the spade connector on the fuse was too small. So as a result, it didn't want to, you know, it wasn't making good contact. So I just basically made a little wire here that I joined up. I'm going to tape everything up, you know, after I get done. But I just want to show you what it looks like first. So what I've done is I've connected the A&W and the field wire over here, right? And then at the alternator, it goes on the second spade connection. So the alternator is a GM, a Delco, Remy Delco 10SI. It's mounted upside down, right? And so as it's mounted, it's the low one where you mount it on the alternator. When I say lower, it's, you know, mounted upside down, facing outward, with the thick part, you know, with the thick bracket being the top, you know, for the Rolls Royce application. So we're going to do now, we're going to hope that I don't burn the house down, but turn it on. See generator lights on. Sorry, just saw a hammer fall. Sure nothing's okay. So again, I'm going to tape everything up as soon as I get my act together, but for now, generator light on. Okay, generator light's still on. Alright guys, so I missed a step. So I had to make another connection. So on the alternator side, this is how you wire up a Delco alternator to a Rolls Royce and have your generator light and your voltage regulation and everything work. Okay, so you mount it up upside down, as you can see, right? You put the big thick positive wire on the back of the terminal, right? So that's the one that goes straight to the battery. Then you have two spade connections. The lower connection, you connect it to the field wire, or the other wire, whichever, the A or the F. You just need to make sure that when you go back at the voltage regulator, you hook them up the same way. In my case, I just connected the F wire to the bottom spade. That gives me my generator light. I connected the top wire, which is for the voltage regulator, to the back of the positive terminal on the alternator, so it gets battery charge. So what this does is it excites the alternator, right, and it also allows it to regulate the voltage. Okay, so going back to the back of the car again, what we have is we have the wire that was basically connected to the WL, sorry, and the wire that was connected to the field. I bridged them together. So this is what I've done, and I've got this little red wire with two spade ends, and that basically hooks everything up together. So now if I hook up the battery, I'm gonna, battery showing 2.7 volts. I go to the car. See? If I turn it on, getting generator light and oil light, okay? Generator light's gone out. And I'm getting 13 volts at the battery. So the alternator is working, everything's working. So everything seems to be working as designed, well, for now. Right, again, you know, I'm showing you this because this is what I think needs to be done. Obviously the disclaimer is do it at your own risk, whatever, blah 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 blah. If you check this video a month from now and I don't have a follow-up video saying that my car burnt down, probably going to be safe, but again, it's at your own risk. Alright, so that's me done. I'm going to go put the tools away and I'm just going to call it a day right now. So, but I feel like I did something productive. Alright guys, thanks very much. I hope you found this useful. I think this was actually very useful as far as I was concerned. I've been fighting with this alternator problem for a while, so I'm glad that I got it figured out. Thank you very much.